Hello, 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 everyone. Great day to you. There is a lot of talk about kindness in the world, the impact that it has on our everyday lives, and the impact that it has in the workplace. I wholeheartedly agree that we could all use a little bit more kindness in the world. Yet, I think it's easier said than done. And I'm wondering if you agree. I'm really looking forward to unpacking this conversation and talking about the essential ingredients required for creating thriving cultures of kindness. So, if you're ready, I know I'm ready, our guest is ready, and our co host is ready. So, let's get ready to lead above the grind. All right. Hello, 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 everyone. I'm super excited to say hi to all of you out there. It's so great to be back. Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to the Coffee with Rhonda show.
Mhm.
We are your cup full of inspiration, revelation, and wit for today's savvy leader. We're super excited to be back today for season 8, episode 90 of the Coffee with Rhonda show. And who knew? I had no idea 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, that we would be here at episode 90. So, before we introduce our guest and our co host, just a few housekeeping items. If you've been here with us, you already know the drill. Don't forget you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at coffeewithrondashow.com. We would love for you to join our family there. And right now, whether you're watching this live or on replay, hit the like button on the video and share it out to your network because there will be something that we say in this conversation today that will be meaningful to those around you. With all that being said, my name is Rhonda Y. Williams, and I'm your host for the show. I am what I like to call an RSO, or a recovering stressed out leader. I absolutely believe we must modernize our view of leadership to include well being and ongoing expansion and growth. I'm the founder of Above the Grind Mentoring and Coaching Academy, where we help leaders develop the skills they need to learn to lead above the grind. Visit us to learn more at atgleadership.com. Now, I am not coming from home today. I am coming to you from the beautiful island of Anguilla. So, if there's any technical craziness or anything, if I disappear, come back, whatever, just roll with us. I'll pop back in as soon as I can. So, I'm on the island and have been here for some time. A dear friend and I, named Carla Rodering, we are planning a luxury women's retreat to happen in November. So stay tuned for more information on that. I've got my Love Anguilla cup with me today, and I am drinking coffee with hazelnut cream because it is all about Anguilla today. So that's what's going on with me on the beautiful island. Sorry, I don't have some gorgeous background behind me, but I thought I better play it safe today rather than trying to be too cute. So, so that's what's up with me. So thank you so much for joining us. I want to say hello and welcome back to our amazing co-host, Mireille. Mireille, hello there.
Hello, I'm so jealous. I really wanted to be in Angola as well, but I'm tuning in from Perth. Hello to our audience. It's great to be back. You know who I am. I'm the greatness engineer, Mireille Toulekima, and I focus on making sure people, understand understand that they have greatness, but they, most importantly, that they step into this greatness and unleash it to the world. So I am the founder of MT Energy Resources, and I'm also the founder of the Greatness Engineering Movement. And today I'm drinking coffee. It's night time, but I have to stay awake. So I have my coffee here to be able to, to spend time with my co-host and our guest today. So that's me.
Awesome. Thank you, Mireille. It's rare that Mireille has coffee in her cup, so she's powering through the evening. It's late there when she's got coffee. Mireille, what time is it where you are?
It's past 10 p.m., so getting late on my side, but that's fine. I'm fully pumped up with the coffee now.
Awesome. That's great. So thank you, Mireille. And so I want to welcome our special guest for today. Super excited to welcome Randy McNeely to the coffee table. Randy is the author of the Kindness Givers Formula 2.0, a 5-step guide to reaching hearts, inspiring change, and healing the world through love. Randy, welcome to the coffee table. Give us a brief introduction and then tell us what you have in your cup.
Well, I'm just so thrilled to be here, Rhonda. Thank you so much. And I'm drinking. I'll tell you first what I'm drinking. I don't drink coffee, but I've got what's called a turmeric latte. It's a mixture of turmeric and sweetened almond milk and honey and all kinds of good stuff that'll make my stomach feel great. So that's what I've got in my cup. And, it's just a little bit about me. I'm a husband. I'm a father of 5 children. I'm an author of the Kindness Givers Formula 2.0. I'm a very staunch kindness advocate because I firmly believe that the best way to build powerful and trustworthy relationships is by embracing behaviors that show value and appreciation for people. And that's what kindness is. Kindness encompasses all the behaviors by which we show value and appreciation for ourselves as well as for other people. Mm-hmm. So I'm also the executive producer for a show called The Kindness Factor that we're working really hard on, that highlights and shares very powerful and personal stories that people have had with the transformational impact of kindness, with a goal and objective to inspire our audience to see what is happening in other people's lives because of kindness, and to have a desire to go out and put it into action themselves. And so that's and I'm also, I work with individuals and organizations to help them understand how to implement this formula and bring greater peace, happiness, and profit to their lives.
Wonderful, Randy. Thank you so much. You're doing a lot of work around kindness, and so I am really excited to open up this conversation and to dive in a little bit more. So I want to start with your opening quote. So I'll put that on the screen, and then we'll talk about it here right on the other side. So I love this. There are 3 ways to ultimate success. The first way is to be kind. The second way is to be kind. And the third way is to be kind, by Randy McNeely. So Randy, let's talk about this a little bit. I might be the only one. I highly doubt that I am. But as much as we talk about kindness, I feel like it's not as easy as it sounds. Right? I feel like being kind and infusing kindness into everything that we do is a little bit tougher than it sounds. So let me go to Mireille first and just ask her if she agrees with that. And then I want to come to you, Randy, and ask you why that is, right? Why does it feel like kindness is not as easy as it sounds? So I don't know, Mireille, do you agree, or am I just out there on my own?
No, I agree. It's not as easy as it sounds. It is important for everything that we do, especially when we talk about success, when we talk about growth. But because sometimes of the environment, this environment where we always rushing, we're always competing, we tend to put it at the back burner, and that's sometimes the problem. And before we realize it, we are very emotional. The first emotion that are coming, that's what coming out, and it's important that we understand that we have to put kindness first if we really want to first connect with people, create a rapport, but also be able to communicate properly, because otherwise emotion are just overcoming us. So I think that's where I stand on this one.
Yeah, thanks, Mireille. So, Randy, Mireille and I both can see reasons why kindness may not be as obvious. What say you? Why do you think kindness is not as obvious as it could or should be?
You bring up an interesting thing, but before I go there, I want to just give credit where credit is due on that opening quote. That was actually originally done by Fred Rogers, and it's one of my favorite quotes. So Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, that's his quote. But I love that quote because kindness is so important, and it's not as easy. You're right; it's not as easy as it may sound. We all get that it's important to be kind, but the question is how do we put it into practice? Here's the challenge. If you talk to most corporate leaders and things like that, they look at kindness as a soft skill, and they see too many people see it as this kind of squishy, nebulous thing that you can't measure, that you can't get your arms around. That change that. And here's why. We need to change the way that we think about kindness, because here's what I'm talking about. Rather than looking at it as a soft skill, the view that people need to think about is the fact that it's a vital skill. Let's step back for a second. Everything we do in business and in life is dependent on relationships. If you talk about building a thriving culture, what is a thriving culture? It's a thriving collection of positive, trustworthy relationships. It includes what Mireille was talking about earlier, being able to communicate with people, being able to build relationships through the actions and the things that we do in order to be able to create trust, in order to be able to create an environment where people feel safe, where people feel like their voice can be heard, where people feel like they have an opportunity to speak out and share ideas without fear of being ridiculed or looked down on, etc. The challenge is getting that mindset, preparing our minds and our hearts and our vision to think about kindness in that way, and to recognize the fact that it is the paver, it is the vital foundation, the paving stones to the path of peace, happiness, and profit in our own lives and in our own organizations. Sorry, I keep losing. I broke up for just a minute there. If we're not willing, the challenge we have is being able to see people as people, being able to look at other people and see the human in them. We get so busy with work. We get so busy, life, like Mireille said, gets so busy. We get so fast, trying to go so fast. We don't take the time to stop and think, okay, this person that I'm talking with is another human being just like me. I don't know what they're going through or what they may not be going through, what's going on in their lives. I can't see inside their mind. So I have to be patient. I have to see them as a human and be willing to ask good questions, be willing to listen with the intent to understand. Because once I do that, then I can put myself in a position where I can identify behaviors and act in ways that are going to show them that I value and appreciate.
Yeah. So, Randy, pause for me for a minute. So, there's a couple things that I want to do. First of all, I want to acknowledge those who are out joining us. Thank you so much for joining. So, hello to Pat, tuning in from South Africa. Hello to Nigel from the UK. Hey, Nigel. I love our international audience. Hello, Lady Jane from Nigeria. And then we also have Lindsay dialing in from Austin, not too far away from me, Lindsay. Great to see you joining us. So, when you talk about kindness, what comes to mind for me is my background is healthcare. And it
Mhm.
is the space where you would automatically expect people. When I tell people that I worked on cultural transformation for caring cultures in healthcare for the past 10 years, they sort of look at me a little bit sideways and go, in healthcare? Really? You
Mhm.
have to teach this and talk about this in healthcare? So even in those spaces where we have, noble goals and the best intentions, we still miss it, right? We still miss
Mhm.
that kindness factor because we're so focused on everything else around us. So, Mireille,
Mhm.
and our audience out there. So, first of all, for those of you tuning in, tell us what you have in your cup. Don't forget to tell us what you're drinking out there as you are tuned in. And if you're drinking something naughty, that's okay. We will not judge you. It's just between us and a few friends, right? So we won't tell it.
Mhm.
But Marae, have you were you taught kindness or were you just told to be kind?
Ki- I don't think that's something that we get taught actually is, and it comes down to the focus on the education and even our own parents. They're more worried about, the formal education, how you're going to do, and, where are you going to get with, a good formal education. And it comes down to really always looking at what's external instead of really trying to find out what's happening inside of us. And I think that's something that not everyone is comfortable doing, and even parents as parents, we actually don't know. And because it's still kind of a taboo, because people see kindness as sometimes as a weak thing or as something that is not important, then it get looked out, and we just grow just trying to find our way, and we don't even know what is kindness in any way. And we can see it when we get challenged. We don't really know where to go. We don't really know what to do, because we've never been trained to really look at kindness as an asset, as something that can help us, when we need to be resilient. And I think that's the way, I see it. I've never been, taught how to be kind, and even with my own children, I've never actually taught them, how to, value kindness, and really create this safe space that we normally need when we are challenged, when we really want to talk about something that we can't really handle. And that's really,
Yeah.
one of the big gap that we have right now.
You know what, Randy? I never really thought about teaching kindness until right now in this conversation. And
Hmm.
we talk about it all the time, right? Be kind, be kind, be kind.
Hmm.
What does that mean? Right? What does it
Exactly.
really look like to show up in kindness? And if we don't know it in our personal lives, if we've not been taught it at home, how in the world do we infuse it in the workplace? Right? We expect our workplaces to be overflowing with kindness when, as
Mm-hmm.
people, we're not even kind. So, Dr. Carla Rotary, my dear friend, says, I was instructed to be nice, but
Mm-hmm.
not to be kind, right? That's another important distinction. Thank you so much for contributing that, because it's another thing. So we get these jumbles of terms all mixed up. Well, kindness is the same as nice, which is the same as being compassionate, which is the same as empathic, and they're not all the same. And so I want to get one more comment in here. Lady Jane says she's drinking Coke this afternoon. It's very hot out here. All right, I certainly understand that. So Randy, how do we move away from kindness as this fluffy, soft thing that's kind of okay to have, but if you don't, that's okay too.
Okay, so, well, let's talk about that, because there is such a thing. You hear terms all the time. You'll see a meme or something like that. Throw kindness around like confetti, and that there are. I'm not saying that simple actions of kindness are not needed, because they are. And I'm talking about smiles, thank yous, sharing, showing gratitude, showing, holding a door for somebody. And they're very needed, because simple actions still inspire gratitude. But when you're talking about the kindness that I'm talking about, let's look at it. Let's look at the definition. How do you make it so it's not nebulous and squishy? Here's a quick definition. First of all, the simplest one: kindness is love in action. Okay, well, love is squishy, but let's stop and think about this. What does kindness embrace? What does that mean? Kindness embraces every action by which I show value and appreciation for other people. If you want to build relationships, if I want to build a relationship with you, Rhonda, or with you, Mireille, or with anybody here in the audience, if I don't show value and appreciation for you in some way when we're talking, when we meet, when we converse, how likely are we to continue our conversation? What's the likelihood that conversation is going to continue? It's not. It goes down. It doesn't. When I come to the table with respect, when I come with the intent, can you hear me okay? I keep flashing in and out. Forgive me. When I come to the table with the intent to ask good questions, questions that are open-ended and that will enable me to get to know you, that will enable me to better understand you and better understand where you're coming from. And I come deliberately with the intent to understand, so that by understanding, I can better be guided in my actions. When I understand you, it opens my eyes to be able to see you as a human being. It opens my mind to be able to think about you as a human being. And it opens my heart to be able to believe and feel that you deserve to be valued and appreciated. And here's the things I can do to show that value and appreciation. If I have a customer at work, I find out what their needs are. I find out, and then I come to them with, once I understand those things, then I can offer, okay, this is how what I am doing will help you to relieve that stress. This is how the product that we offer is going to help you to be able to solve the problems that you're having and be able to resolve those things. If you're in a discussion with somebody and it's hot and it's heated, you can sit and say, okay, I can understand, I can tell that you're agitated and that you're feeling, or that, that both of us may be feeling a little bit angry right now. So we need to stop, take a breath, step back here and think, okay, what can we do to be able to dissipate the heat? And one of the things that helps is listening. First of all, I want to listen to you. I want to listen and understand and make sure that you feel heard. Because that's
so Randy, pause there for a minute, because I want to break each of these opportunities down just a little bit. So first of all, we have Anne, who says it's really important to be kind with oneself. Be kind within brings kindness around us. So I want to talk a little bit about and get you and Mireille to react to, can you be kind from a space of one, judgment, and two, defensiveness, right? What happens to kindness when those two factors enter in? Because I find my own self being really challenged with being kind when I'm busy in my head going, how dare you? Why didn't you? You should have, right? Mireille, right? Is this something that you experience?
Yeah, it is difficult if you're not in a good place. If you yourself, don't actually can be kind to yourself, then that's what you bring out, and that's what you give to people that you communicate with. So it is important that we start with ourselves, having being able to forgive ourselves for anything that we do or anything that we do wrong. So for so for the people who are perfectionists like myself, sometimes it is very difficult because you bring that out, you bring that to the table, and it is sometimes difficult to when you communicate with people to come first to understand what the person really needs, instead of just bringing your needs and trying to impose those needs to the person that you're communicating with, and it is a difficult thing. So that's why it's important to work on ourselves first. And I mean, there are a lot of techniques, the meditation, the prayer, the things to put yourself in a good space and really bring this kindness to yourself before you can actually engage, outside and with people in your environment. And I think Anne is really right here. And she knows because she does a lot of, breathing. She's into breathing techniques, helping, ourselves to understand, the power of breathing and in everything that we do in success and in communication. So yes, definitely, it starts with us.
Mireille, you said something that really struck me, Randy. She said that we are often in a place where we're trying to bring ourselves or impose our will, right? I've got to get this person to, what's wrong with them? They should be thinking like me. They should understand what I'm saying, what I'm coming from. And when we do that, it's really difficult to operate from that space of kindness. At least that's been my personal experience. Randy, what do you say?
Well, you're absolutely right. Stephen Covey and it uses that he brings up quite often for sharpening the saw is first seek to understand, then to be understood. And we have all been in conversations where it's one-sided in our head, meaning we're sitting there thinking of our response. I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say this. And we're really not listening to what the other person is saying. That comes back to what I was saying earlier about listening with the intent to understand. Because if we're listening with the intent to respond, we're not going to understand. Does that make sense? Let me rephrase that. If we're listening with the intent to react, because if we listen with the intent to understand, then we're going to be able to respond in appropriate ways. We'll be able to understand them, and I find, and it's not easy. It takes practice. It does. I need to practice. My kids will tell you I need to practice what I preach because I need to be a better listener, and I'm working on that. But I know that I have 5 children, and three of them are teenagers right now. No, I guess I'm down to 2 that are teenagers right now. But if I don't take the time to listen and seek to understand where they're at, my relationship with them stinks. I mean, it's not where it needs to be. And so I get along much better. We get along much better, which is where we want to be. We have much greater peace, much greater harmony when I take the time to listen to understand, and then I can teach them. I can say, listen, I am striving to understand you, and I need you to do this, need you to do the same thing in return. That way, both learn together. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So Randy, one question I have that I want to talk about now is, are we trying to win? Right? So when we're going through all of this in our heads, and honestly, I have a script and some questions I was going to ask. I haven't asked any of those. I'm totally right now engaged in this conversation, and I'm learning and just really pondering how I show up in these spaces for myself. So I think what I want to do is I want to get to that question. And for you out there in the audience, then I need you all to tap into this, dial in. Where are you in terms of kindness? What's showing up for you? Is it defensiveness? Is it judgment? Is it reaction? What's keeping you from showing up as the most kind version of yourself? But our co-host, Roz, who's not with us today, does a series called The Caregiver Car Chronicles. And Roz, even when you follow Roz on LinkedIn and other social platforms, she gives us amazing tips that we need to be thinking about in terms of caring for each other and our loved ones. So let's go to the Caregiver Car Chronicles for this week. And when we come back on the other side, I want to just bounce that question around a little bit. So we'll do that after this.
What are some of the things that our parents are going to need from us as they're aging? As we know, all of us are going to need help. So basically, when we are giving support to our parents, we need to understand what they are going to need. So here are a few things that I want to suggest to you that you start talking to them about now as the aging process begins. Number one, they're going to need emotional support. Number two, financial support. Number three, legal support. Number four, healthcare management. These are some of the things that our aging parents are going to need from us as children or nieces and nephews and uncles and cousins or whatever. So make sure that you sit down and talk to them about their needs as they age. I'm Roz Jones. Thank you for watching the Caregiver Car Chronicles.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Oh, it's amazing. And honestly, she always brings things forward that need to be discussed and things that we all need to be thinking about. So I know you're not with us today. We did chat with Roz, and she's with a patient and she's tied up and she can't join us today. So we will miss you, Roz, and thank you so much for that Caregiver Car Chronicles. So I want to get back to the idea of, in this version, instead of focusing on kind and kind behaviors and kind listening, are we trying to win? But first, Mom has joined us. Hey, Mom. She says, good morning. Good Thursday morning. Been watching and listening, but her chat wouldn't work. So she has organic mango lemonade with maraschino cherry. I will tell you, Mom always has the best stuff in her cup. I would trade cups with Mom any morning. So thanks for tuning in this morning, Mom. Glad to see you here. And then Jasmina said, most people don't listen to understand, they listen with the intent to reply. Strong communication skills are critical to any organization, but listening skills in particular are vital to managers who can use them to establish feedback loops that improve operations. And very powerful advice. Thank you so much, Jasmina, for that. I completely agree. And even from the leadership perspective, I think we're sometimes trying to win, right? We're trying to best someone in this. So I want to get your feedback on this, Mireille, and we'll come to you first and then we'll come to Randy. Do you think we're really in our heads and hearts trying to win?
Yeah, I think we are. We are always trying to win, and it's also the conditioning that we have. For example, I mean, Randy was talking about his relationship with the children. When we relate to our children, we relate to them in a position of power. So we don't really, I think we're struggling most of the time having them challenging us, and also maybe taking the time to really understand their language, understand where they are, and really, respond to that. But instead, we basically instructing them that this is what they have to do, and I've been guilty of doing it. And in the when we in the working environment, that's the same. As managers, sometimes we tend to think that being a manager is also a position of power, so we listen less and we tend to impose more things, and sometimes the feedback, giving a feedback or trying to communicate something to a manager can be a challenging task. And because there's always this what we call this winning thing, this power thing that we want to put forward to win the situation, to win the argument, or even to avoid really to be vulnerable. Because I think what's happening is, like I mentioned at the beginning, is that when we for a lot of people, being kind and showing those soft skills can be, especially in a professional environment, and I've worked with in male-dominated environment, it is seen as a weakness. So people just want to always feel powerful and want to win.
Yeah, it's really interesting when we're looking at the power dynamic with our children. Mireille, this is such a good point that you and Randy both brought up. So Randy, how do we try to stop? How do we? I don't even know. How do we stop trying to win? Like we've been taught that, as leaders, we should win. We should be the ones on top. And as parents, we should be the ones on top. And before you respond to that, I want to get a couple of comments. So Anne says, that's true. The difference between listening and hearing, that's the key to communicate and efficient communication. So thanks to all for the relevant conversation. And then Lindsay says that sometimes she forgets kindness throughout the day. She likes to think she's a, quote, nice person. There's that word again, right? She thinks she's a nice person, but forgets to look for opportunities to be kind. Her goal is to become more aware throughout the day. Well, Randy, you have the perfect formula for us in terms of this. And so do you want to respond to some of this a little bit first, and then I can show your 5-step formula?
Okay. Well, so when it comes to winning, when you're talking about winning in a discussion, I'd say it's more in terms of, I like to think of it in terms of, I have to be right.
Right.
I'm the one that's right. And I'm the one that's right and you're wrong, because if you're right, I'm wrong. And I'm not going to admit that. I don't want to admit that I'm wrong. When I use the term win, I want to think of it, throw it out there to think of it in this way. How can I win hearts and win minds? And if I'm trying to be right, then I'm going to have a very, very hard time winning any hearts and minds. How do people win hearts and minds? They win it through caring, through listening, through showing respect, through, I think of one of my former bosses that I worked with. I made a major mistake. Just throwing this experience out there. I made a major mistake that cost my company about $1 million. That's a major mistake. And I got called into my director's office. He was my boss. I reported to, and I knew, I'm just, think about all the things that are going through your head. It's like, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get, yelled at, blah, 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 all those things. And your heart is beating 5,000 miles an hour. And I get in there and he takes a look at me and he's like, well, what have you learned from this experience? And I first of all, I was kind of dumbfounded. I said, he wasn't upset or anything. He says, what are you going to do differently next time? And I thought, oh, there's going to be a next time. It's like I'm sitting there, I'm not getting fired. I'm going to have a next time. And we laid out a plan. He says, listen, he says, we all make mistakes. And the key thing that I want to happen here is that you learn, and that we recognize that a mistake was made. We know what should have been done, and we know what needs to be done to ensure that it doesn't happen again. So just go now. You're a good, he basically said to me, Randy, I know you're a good man, and I know you can handle this. So go take care of business. And I would have gone to the ends of the earth for Doug Kursick after that. Gone to the ends of the earth. I don't know if it was $1 million. I can't remember. It was a big mistake. Anyway, but he didn't hammer me. He didn't blame me. He didn't yell at me. He left me with my dignity. He says, I know you can do this. I have confidence in you. Just go forward, do better, and take care of business. That's when we can. It's not easy. It takes practice. But when we can step back, if we're in a situation, rather than trying to be right, and step back and think, how can I work with my colleague and truly come away, we may not be friends outside of work or anything else, but how can I win them, or how can we win together, so that, when we're working together inside this organization or in our family or wherever it may be, so that there's harmony. How can we win together? If I'm thinking of what's in it for we instead of what's in it for me, that's when the magic happens.
I love that. What's in it for we and not what's in it for me. And I also love how you sort of reframed it to winning hearts and minds, right? That
Yeah.
I think that is the thing we should be trying to win. So I absolutely love that. So Amina, great to see you. She says, dear Rhonda and Mireille, so good to see you. Much love from Johannesburg. Great to see you out there also. Thanks so much for joining us. I want to I want us to really think about that a bit, and I want to share your formula and have you talk us through this, because we need tangible steps and actions and plans. Clearly, we're all caught up in the busyness, and our hearts, I think, are in the right place, but we can lose it. And then I want you to just sort of talk through this pretty quickly, Randy, your steps, and then I want to get Mireille's response to, which of these resonate with her. And I would love the audience also to be able to tune into what resonates for them in these steps, where they might have opportunity and where some of us might have some strengths in these. So here is Randy's 5-step formula. So Randy, talk to us a little bit about this.
Okay, so this is a formula that is more easily relatable to individuals, but this can be adopted to work in organizations. Every day, embrace a love-focused mindset and heart set. Determined to be a kindness giver. That means we every day determine I'm going to see other people as human beings, as fellow human beings. I'm going to recognize the fact that we all have the same needs. We have the need to be loved. We need to love. We need to live. We need to have variety. We all have those needs. And how can I show love and appreciation, or show value and appreciation for people? Determined to be a kindness giver. Every day, think of and plan ways to be a kindness giver. Take a few minutes in the morning and think of who you're going to be with, where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, and think of potential. And I say potential opportunities to be kind in those situations. I say potential because we never know how our day is going to go. Nothing ever turns out as planned. Then, once you've thought about those potential opportunities, as you go out, look for and act on opportunities to be a kindness giver. If you're going to be on the road driving, look for opportunities to be a kind somebody in if they're trying to get in. Be kind when you get into the office. Look for opportunities to say thank you, to show appreciation, to listen, to act on those opportunities as they come. If you're in your family, the same thing. Wherever you are, look for and act on opportunities. They don't have to be big things. Sometimes all somebody needs to know is that you care. Be willing to give a hug. If somebody needs a hug, be willing to listen. Every day, the next step is every day invite and encourage other people to do the same thing. It doesn't hurt to say to somebody, I've been finding a lot of joy and happiness just by being kind to other people, looking for ways to show appreciation, to show value for people around me. If you want to feel greater happiness and greater peace, maybe you should try it. And then at the end of the day, every day, experiences. It's important. One, it ingrains those experiences in your mind. Every time we do something kind for somebody else, we have the opportunity to give ourselves a dose of happiness. And what I mean by that, when we look for a way to serve, when we show somebody that we care, when we smile, when we give a hug, our body releases dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. And those feelings, those hormones released in our bodies bring us happiness. That's what helps us to feel happy and joyful inside. And outside of that, when we're caring for a fellow human being, I'm a Christian. I'm not going to get religious here, but I believe that there's a spiritual aspect to our lives. When we serve other people, we feel better. We just do. Our hearts feel better. Our lives feel better. Our minds feel better. And when we reflect on and record those experiences, it ingrains them in our hearts and in our minds. And they're there so that on another day, and reread those experiences and do some mental time traveling and relive those experiences and give ourselves another dose as we think about those experiences. Now you may ask, how do they apply at work? Every day you've got meetings. Every day you've got opportunities to interact. Think of and plan potential opportunities to show value and appreciation. In other words, be kind in those situations. Can you have a minute at the beginning of the meeting? Just talk about a specific behavior and say, let's focus on behavior X this week, which shows value in this way or appreciation in this way. Then every day as you're in the office, look for and act on opportunities to be kind. There may be somebody that has an assignment due and you have the skills to help them and you have the time. Ask them how you can help. There's a multitude of ways that we can show kindness to them. You may notice that someone is not on par today, is not, that something seems to be bothering them. Maybe they need to be taken aside and say, hey, are you okay? Do you need to talk about something? Somebody might need a listening ear, and we don't drop our human needs when we walk into the door. We're still the same human as when we walked in, or when we come in as we were when we walk out.
Wow.
And then follow the other steps. Invite and encourage, reflect and record. Same things. Does that make sense?
It does. I love this. And so I don't know about you, Mireille, but I will say that I don't in advance plan those ways to be a kindness giver, right? I don't go into my day with a plan. And my other opportunity is when I'm in the moment and engaged in the thrust of the day, I don't always look for and act on opportunities to be a kindness giver. So for me, those two really stand out. So I'm going to ask Mireille what stands out for her. And if you're out there and you're watching, if you have not shared the video, please share the video of the stream. We need more kindness in the world, and there's someone out there that needs to hear this conversation. And thank you in advance for that. So Mireille, what on this list stands out for you?
It's difficult to choose because what I like with the list is that it empowers us. So we know that we have to be intentional. And the one that stands out for me is to look for and act on opportunity to be a kindness giver. Because for me, what you give, you receive back. So if you really, give this kindness, it will come back to you, and that's really powerful for me to do that. And I also like the fact that being kind also benefits you physically as well, and you really want to focus on the added physical impact that it gives you as well, in terms of your mood, in terms of feeling really well, and that's very powerful for me. And what's important when you look at the list is that it's not difficult. Actually, it's not something difficult. When you don't have to go do something extraordinary. It's just about being really intentional and understanding that you have this power to actually give first, and then create the environment that is necessary to make this kindness flow, and then you get it back as you spread it. So really powerful.
I love it. Thank you so much, Mireille. And thank you, Randy, for sharing that with us. Mm-hmm. I really believe that kindness is something that we could all benefit from doing more of, giving more of, receiving more of, but it's not going to just happen accidentally. So I'm going to take a short commercial break. And then when I come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. So we'll do that here in just a second.
Leaders today are faced with an exponentially evolving, dynamic workplace, but leadership is not a solo sport. It's critical to know who's on your team and to understand cutting-edge approaches to communication and influence. We invite you to experience the profound rewards of membership in Ascension Leaders, an above-the-grind community wherein today's leaders are empowered and inspired with unprecedented support to create modern magnetic cultures. Modern magnetic cultures, also known as MMCs, are the ideal performance and fulfillment culture prized by successful leaders and their teams. We urge you to carefully consider the edge our members gain from this extraordinary group. Choose to achieve the clarity, velocity, and momentum of a modern Ascension leader.
All right. So we've been talking with our special guest today, Randy McNeely, and he's been helping us understand the formula for infusing kindness so that you're creating those thriving cultures. Randy, as you were going through your formula, a couple of the guests had some really great words. So Lady Jane said, for me, kindness is a big part of what I champion, which is a culture of consideration. I love that, Lady Jane, a culture of consideration. I find that when I'm generally happy and grateful, it's easier for me to be kind than when I am stressed out. And then we got Lindsay, who said, love that culture of consideration. I love that too. It was really great. Amina is asking, how do I show up? Right. And that's something that we should be asking ourselves. Lady Jane says, thank you. We've got some really great comments here. So I'm really glad to see that this is resonating with folks out there. Lindsay says, I love the idea of planning your kindness ahead of time. So if you already have an idea of where you want to practice kindness, you're primed to look for those instances. I love that too, Lindsay, because I feel like it takes a bit of the pressure off, right? You don't have to on the spot come up with this because you've got some ideas on what that looks like. And Lady Jane says, thank you. So absolutely love this conversation. And I want to ask a different question now. Let's switch it up a little bit. Have a little bit of fun. Again, I ask anybody out there listening now, please share this video because, again, I am loving this conversation. But let's do something a little bit fun. I'm on an island right now. And when I am done this broadcast, I will be headed to the beach sometime this afternoon after breakfast. So I want to know from everyone out there, let's do our top two. What's your favorite two things to do when you're on an island? You could talk about your favorite foods. You could talk about the favorite activities you have. We're going to talk about that in our top two right after this. All right, so let's talk about our favorite top two things because I'm on an island and I can't leave this show until I know what people like to do when they're on islands. So, Mireille, how about we start with you? And the audience, don't forget to put yours in the chat. What are your favorite top two things to do when you're on an island?
When I'm on an island, first of all, I just don't want to do anything, so just lie down either along the beach or anywhere, just do nothing, think about nothing. I think when I think about an island, it's just disconnection, complete disconnection. So that's the first thing. The second thing is really enjoying connecting with the nature, connecting with the environment, because most of the time those highlands are there's no noise, there's no stress, there's no running away like we do on a normal day. So really get time to really get deep into connecting with the environment, connecting with the islands. So really, that's what I would do.
Awesome. Thank you, Mireille. I love the idea of that deconnection and that de-stress and doing nothing, which is going to be a lot of nothing happening this afternoon. So, Randy, what do you like to do when you're on an island?
Well, it depends on whether I'm there with just me and my wife or I'm there with my kids and my wife. But most of the time, just relax and have a good time. Enjoy the beach, enjoy watching and listening to the ocean. Take the time to just sit back and relax and disconnect, like Mireille said, disconnect and just enjoy the moment. Enjoy, appreciate the sounds and the sight. I love being at the beach. I love the ocean. I love the sounds and the sights, and just watching and observing and then just enjoying being with my family.
Yeah. Very cool. I am that person. I love the sound and watching the ocean. I could never get in it and be fine. If I could just look at it and continue to look at it and the beauty of it, I love that. My second favorite activity, honestly, if I'm being transparent, has to be rum punches, because I feel like Whenever, whenever I'm on the island, is rum punches, like rum punches all around. What would you like? Rum punch. What will you be having? Rum punch. Yeah, that seems like the thing for me. Lindsay said, I just got back from vacation to Hawaii. Her favorite things to do were snorkeling with the sea turtles. I have not done that. Lindsay, that sounds amazing. And eating and drinking a nice adult beverage out in the sunshine on the beach, laying back and relaxing. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely love it. So we thank you everyone for participating and having a little fun. As we move to close our conversation, I really want to talk about, what are the final things that you want people to take away? And if you're out there, we want to know what we put in your cup in this conversation. Our goal is, in addition to having fun and getting to interact and chat with all of you, is really about providing some insights, giving you something to consider in your own life. So that's what we call infusing or pouring into your cup. So and this segment is called What's in Your Cup. So what did we pour in your cup today? What are you taking away? When we come back, we'll go to Mireille, and then we will ask Randy to share his final thoughts and what he wants people to take away from this conversation, as well as how people can learn more about the work he's doing in the world. So we'll come back and start the wrap-up segment with What's in Your Cup. All right. So, Mireille, what's in your cup?
There's been a lot in my cup, but I really like the first slide that you shared. The success, secret is to be kind, and that's really resonated with me because as we were, having the conversation, just understood that it is important to not just look at what is in it with you when you connect with people, but what is in it for we, and really understand that you have to include and you can initiate, you can initiate the process, be kind, and then get the kindness back. So that was but there's so much, so that's just one of the things that I take from the conversation.
Thank you, Mireille. Absolutely. Randy, what do you want people to walk away from this conversation with?
Oh, a couple things. First of all, walk away just keeping that formula in your head. And every day think about what you can do to be a kindness giver. If you get up and look in the mirror first thing in the morning and think, I'm going to be a kindness giver today. I'm going to embrace a love-focused mindset. I'm going to see people as people and go out and give value and appreciation away and show value. Day off right. That'll put it top of mind. And then just, again, think of and plan ways to be kind, look for opportunities and act on them, and then go forward from there. I want to give you a challenge, the audience a challenge. Do it for 7 days. And I can promise you, you will notice a difference in your life. Mm-hmm. I have a 30-day challenge coming up. If anybody who wants to find out more about that and get on a waiting list can reach out to me at randy@randymcneely.com. It's going to be a 30-day kindness journey. And I can promise you it'll be a journey that will change your life forever. I've had more people tell me after doing 7-day challenge, coming back and said, I thought I was a kind person, but when I got up and started looking for ways to be kind, intentionally looking, they've been totally amazed at what they have been missing that was right around them, that they started seeing, oh my gosh, I saw this situation and this situation, this situation. It's a great opportunity to bring happiness and yes, greater profit into your life, because as we get along at work, it means greater creativity, greater innovation, better relationships with our employees and colleagues and our customers, and it always leads to an increase in your bottom line. And in your own life, it leads to an increase in your happiness and your ability to bring happiness to other people.
Oh, love that, Randy. Thank you so much. You know, before I share my last drop for today, I want to make sure that we get these comments in. And let's see, Lindsay says, in her cup, plan your kindness ahead of time and what's in it for we rather than what's in it for me. So that's her takeaway. Thank you so much for sharing that. Mom says, my takeaway, I love Randy's inclusion of his spirituality with kindness. When you are in touch with your spirituality, you will always encounter ways to be kind to others. Thank you so much for that, Mom. And Carla says, understanding kindness as an essential skill and rather than a soft skill, and assigning kindness the highest
that's
intention
great.
that I set atop of each day. Absolutely love that. And, you know, as I look at it, my last drop for today is really this, that creating cultures of kindness, and that includes infusing it in your own life, is created with awareness and intention, right? It's not accidental, doesn't happen overnight. You don't just fall into cultures of kindness. We have to create them. And the only way that we can do that is through intention. So, one of the things in your plan and your step formula, Randy, is to reflect on each day, right? Look at your opportunities. Where were you kind? And how did you show up for others? And then Lady Jane says, first, I want to say thank you for an enlightening meeting, and I'm taking this away. Every day, look for and act on opportunities to be a kindness caregiver. Yay! So excited. Listen, if we've given one person something to consider and think about, that's why we show up here every week. Super excited to be back and launching season 8 of the Coffee with Rhonda show. So don't forget to share this video on your stream. Amazing conversation. Randy, thank you so much for being here. Tell us one more time how people can connect with you.
Best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn. That's my biggest social platform. I mean, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter and on YouTube, but most of my time, 90% of my time, 95% of my time is on LinkedIn.
All right, fantastic. Well, everyone out there, thank you so much for joining. Mireille, always amazing to see you. Thank you so much, my friend. And for everyone else out there, we look forward. We know we're on a different day and time, so this is new for us. We've been on Saturdays since the show started. This is our first time that we are during the week on Thursdays, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. So don't forget to adjust your timing of the Coffee with Rhonda show. And we'll see you back here next week. For my co-host and my guest, stay tuned for just a minute. For everyone else, we look forward to seeing you next week on another episode of the Coffee with Rhonda show. Until then, stay tuned, everybody.